name is Damon Elmore, and I'm sitting here with my good friend Tyrone Broxton as part of his My Cup of Tea series. Tyrone, thanks for letting me hang out with you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
I know your work as an executive recruiter with a large national firm gets you some insight into some tools that candidates can probably use to better their search opportunities. We were talking earlier about the My Cup of Tea, and you mentioned LinkedIn, and also mentioned that some candidates may not have a LinkedIn profile. What's the deal? Is it really that big a deal? Is it crucial? Is it important?
Sure.
How should we be using it? All of those things. Go.
There's some newer platforms that I think a lot of folks are using now, and I'm not going to speak too much of those because those platforms I haven't mastered just yet. But with regards to LinkedIn, I mean, that is the premier social media professional website. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Ironically, a few years ago, before I stepped into this role, I really truly didn't understand the dynamic nature of LinkedIn and how to really leverage it, kind of similar to Twitter, or like we were talking earlier on Instagram. How do you kind of leverage that to get your message out?
Right.
And obviously take some tinkering. They have made it almost like it seems to be a little bit more a Facebook type of platform.
Yeah.
You have the feed. You can follow some of the most inspirational people that you appreciate. You can connect with a lot of folks that you may not even know. You can reach out to them and send them a direct message and ask for them to connect with you. So it's a wonderful platform for you to put content out and really be perceived, at least, as a thought leader. Because you're bringing a lot of fresh, innovative, in some cases, ideas. I mean, My Cup of Tea didn't exist before really, several months ago.
Right.
And I've been able to put that out, have close to 8,000 followers now.
Wow.
And people that have really been able to say, hey, that story, I wrote a story this weekend, I posted it on Monday, and it's about the job search. The job search can beat down a human being.
It can.
It can beat you down to your knees. So I was able to find a wonderful video. I'm not sure if you've ever seen it. As an HBO tease to HBO boxing, and it's a homeless man. And it's phenomenal. I forget the score, but it's a phenomenal score that goes along with it. And this gentleman goes from living under a bridge to going and identifying a trainer, to working every odd job he possibly can while still sleeping under the bridge, and putting himself in masterful physique, and eventually getting a chance to fight in B.B. King's theater, his first bout. So here's a guy that took himself from nowhere and was able to find his dream. So I wanted to kind of show that illustration and then talk about 10 ways to not allow you to get beat down. Here are 10 tactics while you're in your job. Don't quit your job if you can help it.
Right.
And try to prepare yourself and properly and smartly put yourself in a situation to maybe get out of the circumstance that you're in for the better.
Right. How often are you on LinkedIn?
Oh my goodness gracious, I'm never off.
Really?
Yes, sir. I mean, I gotten to the point now, and you don't want to oversaturate with too much information. That's why those other platforms, the Twitter, the Facebook, the Instagram, can be some other mediums in which you don't oversaturate all the folks that are at least following some of the content that you're putting up. So I'm trying to be careful with that, but I'm on it every day. And now, as I've added different types of segments, so to speak, My Cup of Tea normally is posted on Monday. That's the actual article. Now, obviously, there's some instances where I may have not gotten around to the article, so there may be a gap, but normally on Monday, that's when that's posted. Ty's Take now is on Tuesday. Called Tyrone, our latest jobs that we're working, whether they be relocatable jobs outside of the Atlanta market or local jobs inside of the Atlanta market, goes up on Wednesday. So now I've kind of been able to schedule. Resume advice now is on Thursday, and then I have tip of the week, which I didn't mention earlier, and that's on Friday. And Saturday, Sunday, put some other things up as well. Sunday I really like, I call it Ty's Weekly Roundtable. And that's me trying to get some information from individuals like yourself who are literally doing this work on a day in, day out basis. How come this doesn't go this way? Or how can you improve this? And really try to get some folks to have a dialogue, through the medium to, and you never know, it could end up making a connection.
Sure.
Somebody, you may end up communicating with a CEO of an organization you never communicated before. Next thing you know, you guys are on the phone talking about an opening they have. So
yeah.
I may not necessarily be able to directly, and I think that's the thing that I want a lot of people to realize, and at least my life's mission in this work now, I am mature enough to realize I may not be the person that gets you your next job, but through some of the extra work that I do, indirectly, it may have a positive impact on
right.
you. You're on your own accord. or it may be able to make a connection that you otherwise may have not had as a result.
So I'll owe you regardless.
I mean, just a T-bone steak, cheese, eggs, and Welch's grape.
That's fair. That's fair. Two questions. You brought up this contact or this connection with the CEO, and I've seen some things that talk about reaching out to CEOs directly and saying, "Hey, I would be a good candidate to help you where I see you have this hole or this dirt."
Sure.
How do you feel about that? What feedback have you gotten from business leaders or owners or CEOs that say, "Hey, people do communicate with me through LinkedIn, and I welcome that," or at least I don't discourage it?
Sure. I come from the old hat of you don't try, you'll never know.
Right.
And I believe if you have the confidence in yourself and the goal to reach out to, or the gumption to reach out to a CEO or a VP of HR or any other figurehead in the C-suite and say, hello, I'm introducing myself. This is who I am. Would love to connect with you. Pick your brain. This is what I bring to the table. Could we connect? And that's all it takes. Because that initial offering is, this is who I am. I find your background attractive. Would love to connect with you and pick your brain.
Right.
That person clicks accept. Now you have access.
Right.
Now you can send them a message. You can send them a message, and hopefully they respond.
And be ready.
Yes, and if they do, now you're talking potentially meeting for lunch or having a conversation. Maybe you can gather, as a young kid, you can gather a mentor. Maybe you can walk your way or type your way into an apprenticeship or into an internship.
Right.
I mean, look at Ryan Seacrest. And he rode the coattails of Casey Kasem. And look where he is now.
Right.
And that's what Ryan Seacrest did without the mediums and the technology that we have today.
Right.
And he did it by written word. Casey wrote him back, said, hey, young man, you be my apprentice. Boom.
Wow.
So
3 things about LinkedIn that you tell me you see that are either the most essential things that you got to do. Now, let me tell you the 3 that I hear often.
Okay.
So it's related to profile picture,
Yes,
having
sir.
a good one, a professional
Absolutely.
one, being succinct in the description of your experiences,
Sure.
not just listing the companies or employees, but telling a little bit about what you did. It's not the resume. And then a good summary
Yes, sir.
about yourself. Are those really the top 3?
Yes.
Are there more, or can you expound on them?
there are a lot of different things that you can do. I do agree with the succinct part. You definitely want to have a nice executive summary. In my humble opinion, you want to have a nice professional photo.
Yeah.
I mean, think about this. And I tell this to folks who do not have a photo on LinkedIn. This day and age, we can shop for cars online. If you had no photo of the vehicle, you could not see the interior, the exterior, and the accessories.
Right.
Would you be interested in that vehicle?
Right.
Highly doubtful.
Right.
So it's always nice to A, have a picture, and B, have an executive summary. Tell people who you are. Give them some type of hook.
Right.
Reel them in a little bit. Make them say, wow, this person seems interesting. That's what us recruiters do on a day in, day out basis.
Right.
So it's very important. Have you want to have a detailed history of your career, but this is a thing that a lot of candidates fail. And I just coached one of the individuals I'm working with today, a couple of days ago, on this. Showcase the progression. If you worked for a Fortune 500 company, don't tell me you worked for them from 1999 to 2016 and you got laid off because the company restructured.
Right.
Tell me you started as a generalist to a business partner, to a senior manager, to a director,
Right.
to a senior director over the course of that 15 years. And the same thing should be reflected on the resume. A lot of candidates fail to do that, and a lot of candidates get overlooked. So it's not that they're being overlooked because they're not qualified.
Right.
They're being overlooked because they're not selling themselves
Ah.
properly. That's the problem. That's the problem.
One more thing and I can talk about LinkedIn
Sure.
for days, because sometimes I feel overwhelmed with
Absolutely.
it. And then when I switch hats and I'm in the talent management or recruiting space, even the little that I do, I'm on it all the time
Sure
and
thing.
fascinated with it. What about as a candidate engagement with LinkedIn? So what do I need to do to make sure that I'm having a presence and my profile is popping up? It doesn't seem like it's enough to just like all of these articles that are
Sure.
coming up, because I don't like all
Sure.
of them. Do I need to comment? Do I need to provide feedback? Do I need to
Yes.
put content on there? What do I need to do so that not only is my profile solid, but I'm engaging well with LinkedIn and being visible?
What I'm doing with my cup of tea, anybody can do.
Okay.
So in this day and age, we have access to so much information.
Right.
We're each professionals. We all have a different perspective and a different lens on how things should be constructed, how things can be done, how to avoid this circumstance and this problem. So there's nothing stopping anyone from writing an article, creating content, putting it out there for your network to see. There's nothing out there with maybe putting up a post, or in your instance, addressing your question direct, responding to a post, sharing with your network saying this is a wonderful article for all to read because of X, Y, and Z reasons. So I think being as engaged as you possibly can with LinkedIn and sharing great content could potentially draw a lot of folks in your direction that you don't know, you may not ever communicate with, but you end up creating, ironically to say it, a fan base of individuals through this digital medium, as people see you as someone who has some great insight in your area or in life in general.
Right. It's good stuff. You're going to have me go home and work on my profile.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah, well, thanks for letting me share a cup of tea with you.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it.